All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, and thank you for joining us. Today, we're going to be covering a couple of technologies that we're seeing having major impacts for insurance providers. And it's just going to be a very high-level overview designed to give you some context on what they are, how they're used, and what benefits they can bring to your organization. But first, I need to go over just a couple of housekeeping items. Today's webinar is being recorded, and you will receive the recording in an email tomorrow, along with a survey of your experience with the webinar. This survey will also pop up at the very end of the webinar, so you'll have two opportunities to fill it out. This survey enters you for a drawing for some $50 and $100 Amazon gift cards, which is fun. But more importantly, it helps us get a better understanding of your familiarity with these technologies, and if you'd like to learn more about how they could be applied at your organization. Additionally, we just promise to be good stewards of your time. We really appreciate how valuable your time is, and we're going to move quickly. If you have any questions, please enter them in the chat, and the respective expert will reach out to you via email after the webinar concludes. You will also have an opportunity to ask any questions you may have in the survey. All right. Well, if you're not familiar with us, allow me to introduce you to Mutually Human. And also myself, I'm Logan White. I'm our marketing manager here at Mutually Human. But more importantly, I'm joined by Nav Lakey and Lori Maxon. But we're a full-service software and technology consultancy founded in 2007 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, where we are still headquartered today. We specialize in a few technologies, all centered around, full custom programming. But the two that we see as most applicable to insurance organizations right now are custom software and intelligent automation. Our US-based team of developers works to create mobile apps, web apps, IoT programming, all sorts of really anything that involves coding. We're also business process consultants and love helping companies smooth out their critical processes by implementing integrations for the current tech stacks that increase efficiency, or designing fully custom, unique software that completely changes the game. The other tool we think that has immense capabilities with insurance, and a lot of insurance companies are racing to implement right now, is intelligent automation. This software essentially mimics human input to a computer and allows an employee to execute repetitive, rule-based tasks much more quickly, accurately. It's a fascinating technology. And I'll let Nav tell you more about it. I just wanted to give you a little agenda. So up first, we have Lori Maxon, who is our VP of Custom Software. Lori joined Mutually Human in 2016 and has led dozens of incredible, fully custom software projects, and is a wonderfully talented UX UI designer with an incredible mind for software process and strategy. If you choose to engage with us in a custom software capacity, you will work closely with Lori and her team. Lori, you have the floor, and I believe keyboard and mouse control as well.
All right, thank you, Logan. So as Logan mentioned, I'm Lori Maxon, VP of Custom Software here at Mutually Human. I come by way of UX and UI design. So like Logan alluded to, a lot of my focus is helping organizations who maybe have an idea or a vision and help take that idea or vision and craft it into something that's a real piece of software that we can implement that can start to provide value to their customers until they're into their internal team. So we're really excited to have you here. We know everyone's time is precious, so I'm going to jump right in. You can go to the next slide for me, Logan. That'd be great. There we go. So I want to just start with a quick story. So years and years ago now, when my husband and I bought our first house, we had just gotten married. We were so proud of this first house. We saved up money and we added on this deck. Less than a month later, this giant windstorm comes through, a tree falls on our newly installed deck and damaged it significantly. So like I said, we were new, it was our first home, new to being a homeowner. We weren't really sure what to do. So I did, what every, very technologically advanced consumer would do. I went and took photos with the disposable camera. I took those photos to the 1-hour photo development and then drove into the insurance office. We sat in the waiting room for a little bit and then walked back and met with our agent in his office. I shared the photos, he gave us some paperwork to fill out, and then he actually followed us back to our house to take his own photos, which ironically, he was using an even fancier technology of a Polaroid camera that spit out those photos instantly. So over the next couple weeks, it took a couple phone calls, another trip into the office. We used a fax machine to get our claim resolved, to do some signatures, resulting in a physical check that was sent to us in the mail. We take it into the bank to get cashed, all of that to then pay the company to repair our deck. So at that time, that customer flow felt really reasonable, right? But I'm sure that you can't really imagine walking a customer through that type of experience today. So fast forward to 2021. We came home and our dishwasher had leaked. We had water all over the hardwood floor. It even leaked all the way through like the floor and into the basement wall and ceiling. But this time our experience was far different. My husband filed the claim online. As you know, you can have real-time messaging with agents. We were able to track the status of our claim online. We were able to receive text notifications and other notifications to understand where the status was. We communicated quickly, we signed documents online, and it essentially was a much more efficient process. So this, the difference between then and now seems amazing. And in the process that is in place at many insurance companies now seems really great. So that really begs the question of what's next? What is trending in insurance for 2022? So obviously those attending, you have far more insight into the specifics of the insurance industry. A lot of our insight is based on the work that we've done with organizations to help implement technology in order to meet their goals as it relates to their insurance organization. So here's some trends that we're seeing, and I'm going to warn you, obviously you're seeing a ton of buzzwords all over the screen. So a little bit of buzzword bingo here. But these are the things that we're seeing trending in 2022, the conversations we're having with insurance companies and other companies across other industries as well. One is predictive analytics. So again, to understand and predict customer behavior for things like pricing and risk selection, or identifying fraud, or anticipating other trends. So we're seeing a lot of effort being put into that predictive analytics space. We also anticipate seeing the continued expansion of AI and machine learning to improve speed and accuracy. And related to that, and like Logan mentioned, something that we're really close to is the expansion of the use of robotic process automation. You'll hear more from Nav about that, but there's some really exciting stuff happening in that space. The InsurTech trend is continuing to expand. It's helping a lot of large organizations explore new options outside of the traditional human efforts that might exist, and really start pushing towards that digital transformation as it relates to processes with their customers, internal processes, etc. Internet of Things, so IoT. One thing that's really interesting here is that although some consumers can be really sensitive and nervous about different data, we're seeing that as it relates to insurance organizations, customers are more willing to share things like smart homes, telematics, other wearables, if it means that you might be able to deliver a better rate for me. So you saw that with like the progressive snapshot and things like that. So we're seeing a continued trend in the IoT space of looking at connected devices and providing insight into that data, both for consumers as well as insurance agencies. Chatbots is a big thing. We're looking at how do we integrate things, and related again back to that RPA process, but how do we integrate a chat box in order to walk a customer through the easy processes that don't necessarily require extensive human interaction. So things like policy applications or claim process, let's leave some of those more complex situations to being handled by a human that actually requires a human touch. And we're seeing chatbots take over some of that legwork. And I'm sure you're aware of, but insurance agencies, we're seeing a lot of the use of drones to do things like damage assessments, such as performing roof inspections and then transmitting that data to the cloud for analytics, reports. So agents can now see those real-time photos and get some of those views that only a drone can do. So again, buzzword bingo here, but here are the main things that we're seeing as organizations are talking to technology companies. These are some of the big trends that we anticipate continuing to grow in 2022. So like I said, my experience is in UX design and custom software. So how does custom software fit within all of this, and specifically fit within the insurance space? So custom software is a big, broad initiative. So I like to set context on a couple things. The first one here is what types of software are organizations already using to run their business? So there's a variety of types, and we see a lot of commercial off-the-shelf software, right? So insurance is a big industry. So there's obviously a lot of off-the-shelf software that's been created for the insurance agency, insurance industry. We also see, a lot of off-the-shelf software that's built for the mass market, can be purchased by the general public. So you see, Microsoft Suite and QuickBooks, Zoom, Slack, things like that. Modified off-the-shelf software is one step further from some of the off-the-shelf software, which is a type of software that is still generally built for a mass audience. It might have a little bit more of a narrow focus, but once that software is purchased, it can be modified or customized after that purchase by the software vendor, so that you're able to get the software a little bit closer to your unique needs. One more step past that is custom software. So we describe custom software as software that's designed and developed specifically for your unique business needs. So as opposed to the first two, developed mainly for the mass market with some level of configuration and customization, custom software, on the other hand, is developed very specifically for your organization, your custom process, your customers, your agents, your staff, based on what you need and how you want to run your process and operations. And then you'll often see organizations are using some combination of all of these different types of software. And this is where some custom integrations, as well as RPA, starts to play a big role in the success of operations, to really connect these different pieces of software and make sure that data is flowing to and from the main tools that teams are using. Next context I want to set is just different forms of custom software. First, the fully responsive web application. So an application that can be used in a browser across all your devices, your laptop, tablet, phone. Another common form is the mobile application, right, where it's typically deployed to the Apple Store or Google Play, and we can tap into some of the native functionality that the device offers. Software can also be built and then deployed to a desktop or workstation. We've also worked with a lot of organizations in the IoT space that we referenced, so connected devices and using software to read and write data to some of those physical devices, as well as wearables, looking at wearables for different hands-free training, as well as some of the wearables in the health and wellness department. So why are companies investing in custom software? So just like anything else you might invest in for your organization, you're probably looking at the big three. These are the main three things we're talking about when we're really looking at an investment in something like custom software. How can we reduce cost? How can we increase revenue? Or how can we retain customers? Those are the main goals that we're usually setting out to achieve at a high level with any type of business initiative and any type of custom software project. Within that, and more specifically within the insurance space, some of the areas we're looking at is improving customer experiences. And I'm going to sound like a broken record in this category because customers are continuing to look for convenient and personalized experiences. And other industries are getting customers used to certain types of service. And they're going to crave that, continue to crave that from the insurance space as well. We're looking at how can we process claims simpler and faster? How can we give agents the right tools that they have to make sure that they're able to accomplish what they need to accomplish? So essentially boiling those down to speed and accuracy of operations. Another big focus that a lot of companies are investing a lot in right now is streamlining communication and reporting. So there's really two big things grouped into one there. The first is communication. So this is really focusing on how can I communicate to my customers as a whole, and how can I communicate individual communication, such as tracking the status of a claim or interact on a one-on-one basis with an agent. And then reporting and analytics. So big data is extremely valuable, and we're looking at continuing to find ways to mine and surface data for things like predictive analytics, like I mentioned, and fraud detection and triaging claims and things like that. Insurance companies and products also looking to reduce human error and increase standardization of process, and custom software can go a long way in doing a lot of those things. And then a big thing that we've noticed in the insurance industry is that there's a lot of legacy on-prem software that's still part of operations. So you're seeing a lot of tech companies like Mutually Human working with these organizations to build cloud-based solutions, making it easier to launch new products, create better experiences. It's also going to be a critical path to making use of some of those other larger technology trends as it relates to some of the new technology that will be implemented, and specifically really important as we are looking at incredibly large data sets and being able to mine some of that data for useful information. And finally, organizations are often investing in custom software in order just to have more control and security over the software that they use, both internally and with their customers. So I have a handful of sample use cases to share today. Some of these examples are organizations building a new product or a new customer-facing experience. There's also a lot of work to be done in what we call operational software. So again, focusing on that internal process, making that more efficient, more accurate, eliminating human error, making sure that these processes can be completed with a remote staff. And many times web and mobile applications will cross over both of these categories. So first one here is an insurance organization working to what I'll call a shopping portal, for lack of better words. But essentially, there are times where power surge or power outage causes damage to appliances. And one way this organization will settle a claim is to offer a customer a stipend to shop from a collection of approved brands and approved budget based on their coverage and what was damaged. So rather than sending a customer out to, rather than either giving a check or sending a customer out to find different products, this organization curates a collection of products that are approved to fulfill this claim. And a customer can go in, they can view the stipend amount they have available, they can select from these approved products, and they can essentially check out in the same way they would if they were shopping at a Home Depot or a Lowe's, making that experience really simple, really efficient, and really familiar to the customer. Next, when I mentioned my experience years ago, submitting a claim used to be like throwing something into the big unknown. But now as consumers, we've grown very accustomed to getting constant updates on status from organizations. So, I mean, think about even you order a sandwich from Panera, right? And you can view on the app when the order was received, when it's being prepared, when it's ready for pickup. You order something online and you get alerts when it's been shipped, when it's arrived. So the same is true in insurance. This is an example of an organization that built a portal to show a customer each step, easily allow a customer to go in, see what step they were at, and as far as tracking a claim, they can go in and get information of what to expect during that step. They can view some information from their agent or from their agent's team. They can ask questions. They can provide additional information as needed, making it really easy for a customer to follow along with the process and keep that moving. Another common expectations customers have grown used to is, I want the ability to get a quote from an organization without engaging too deeply with a human. I'm not quite ready for that. I just need to go in and I want to get an idea of how much something is going to cost. So this is an example of a flow that allows a customer to go in, enter information for the system, automatically deliver an estimated quote based on the coverage that they're seeking. It also provides the agent and the agent's team the ability to go in and view that customer profile. And once that customer is ready for the next step, they can work with them to make those final decisions. And they don't have to re-ask a bunch of questions. They can go through, use that profile for a very smooth onboarding experience. And lastly, I mentioned the trend of connected devices. And so, the important part about this is customers, again, are willing to connect and provide and view data if it means a discounted rate on coverage. So we're seeing this, with telematics for cars, as well as connecting to smart home devices or health wearables and more. We're seeing this become more and more popular. We talked about the different types of software, and obviously the insurance industry is a large industry and has a lot of off-the-shelf software available. So one of the big questions we help organizations really try to get answers to is, should I build or should I buy? And there's situations where each one has its pros and cons. And so one of the big topics that, this is a huge topic, it could deserve its own webinar completely. But one big question that usually is at the forefront of this is, how much would it cost to build custom software? So unfortunately, it's a really hard thing to answer, but and it requires really digging in deeper into the specific needs and complexity of what you would want to build. But for a reference, this is a visual showing the approximate value of where projects have landed over the last 15, 20 years that we've been working with organizations. So you can see a big group of projects that are in that tens of thousands of dollars. We can do a lot with some simple focused apps like a shopping portal and things like that, where the functionality is fairly limited, even though the impact can be really high. You see a lot of projects that start to get into those hundreds of thousands of dollars. That starts to be applications that have these more complex feature sets. They have multiple integration points, maybe with other software that you're using or other tools out there, as well as projects that continue to go off the right side of the scale there. The thing that's really important here is there's almost always a version of that application that's on the left side of the scale. There's almost always some place to start that will deliver high value. And then organizations can evaluate the ROI, evaluate those customer experiences, and continue to invest and enhance in the application as their needs evolve. So one tiny little sales and marketing plug is essentially, if you're not sure if you would be interested in building custom software, we do offer a free consultation. It's essentially an hour. We talk a little bit with your team. We get an overview of your organization and what some of your goals and ideas are for custom software. And then our team returns with some ideas and possibilities of how to take your idea to the next step and how to use custom software to help reach your goals. So with that, I will turn it back over to Logan, and thank you again for your time.
Thank you, Lori. Clearly a lot of green space for custom software and insurance. Next, we have Nav Lakey here. Nav is our Director of Intelligent Automation, and he's here to talk to you about a really cool tool some of you might be somewhat familiar with, which is Robotic Process Automation. I won't give you too many more spoilers, but we're seeing RPA have huge effects for companies who are a little hamstrung by high-touch, repetitive processes. We know there's a lot of those in your industry. Nav has about as many years of experience in robotic process automation as you can have, given how new this technology is, and has led multiple teams and multiple platforms and leads our Automation Anywhere RPA team at Mutually Human. Nav has successfully helped deliver automations and establish centers of excellence for clients across industries, including logistics, BFSI, insurance, and workforce management. Nav.
Thank you, Logan, and appreciate everyone taking the time to be with us today. We know you all have busy mornings, but glad you're here to learn a little bit about what we offer at Mutually Human. So before I start talking about what RPA is, I'd like to get one thing out of the way and tell you what RPA is not. Robotic Process Automation is not a technology that builds or implements physical robots. When I first tell people I make bots for a living, they immediately assume I'm building the Terminator or C-3PO, but I assure you that's not the case. And even in today's, even in a lot of industries today, physical robots and machines are used to automate a lot of different types of procedures in manufacturing and in the medical industry to bring efficiencies to supply chains, but RPA is a bit different. So, what is RPA? Robotic Process Automation is a software technology that makes it really easy to build, deploy, and manage software robots. And what these software robots do is they emulate human actions that interact with different systems or software on a computer. We use tools like Automation Anywhere to mimic a sequence of human actions that are performed on that computer and build what we like to call bots. So just like people, these bots can do things like understand what's on a screen, complete the right keystrokes, navigate different systems, identify and extract data, and then perform a wide range of other defined actions. These bots usually run completely on their own and act as digital workers, getting the work done much quicker, much more accurately, and most importantly, they give humans back their most valued asset, which is time. And they can do all of this without the need to get up and stretch, use the bathroom, or take a coffee break. So before I get into the benefits of RPA and go over a case study, I think it may be helpful to show you guys what a bot actually looks like in action. So to set the stage here a little bit, back in 2020, during the height of the pandemic, Automation Anywhere developed a solution that allowed any healthcare organization to process complex forms as never seen before. You could apply this to any kind of documents or forms that come in, for claims handling, etc. So hospitals in the UK required COVID patients to fill out a 10-page form, which included filling out checkboxes and handwritten fields. In the first piece of this demo, you'll see that Automation Anywhere is able to read and extract info like checkbox data around demographics, inclusion criteria, comorbidities, and successfully input the extracted info from those forms into a CSV file for further downstream processing. Now you'll see that the tool is able to decipher handwriting and successfully extract that info. And all that data is combined and input into various forms. That gives you an idea of how the technology performs actions like extracting information from documents. But one thing that's really cool is that Automation Anywhere can do a lot more, right? So any kind of structured, rules-based processes across any kinds of applications, those processes can be automated using this technology. So now let's talk a little bit about the benefits of implementing this technology at scale. The most noticeable benefit of RPA solutions is the speed at which automations can complete tasks. Incorrect data entry is another challenge for many businesses, and RPA can definitely alleviate any errors, which can be common when manually performing certain tasks. Another benefit is greater productivity, right? Whereas humans have limitations on how much work they can do in a day or how much work they can do in an hour, machines do not. I've been part of projects where bots execute key processes for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sifting through hundreds of thousands of transaction data entries. Certain processes also see an overload of volume certain times of the year, right? So RPA allows you to scale up your solutions easily and effectively to meet demand. Improved customer experience is often an overlooked benefit when weighing out the pros and cons of investing in RPA. And insurance industry, it can be a personal industry, right? You're working directly with customers to make sure that they are secure in whatever their needs are. And by using tools like RPA to automate a lot of those manual back office processing that's done by a lot of insurance professionals, you're freeing up time to focus on customer care. Cost savings and fast ROI are no-brainers when it comes to benefits, right? RPA solutions save time, and oftentimes time equates to money. And lastly, by giving back time to your employees, by automating their manual laborious tasks, you're making them feel more value, right? And you're allowing them to do work that can keep them focused on the customer-facing tasks or internal creative tasks that might require a lot more human cognition than some of these mundane tasks that take up a lot of time being processed manually. So I mentioned earlier that we use tools like Automation Anywhere. Now, Automation Anywhere is a leader in the RPA space, and we here at Mutually Human have positioned ourselves to be a strategic partner of Automation Anywhere. So the question is, why have we chosen Automation Anywhere over other tools? Well, there are a few reasons here. Right? We truly believe that of all the major RPA providers out there, Automation Anywhere is the easiest of all those tools to use. I've actually worked on a lot of projects using similar tools, and I can definitely say that Automation Anywhere is the simplest to use, and that the simplicity of the tool is its real strength. A lot of companies, right, when they start on their automation journey, they have this goal of creating a culture of automation, right? How do you provide the value that this technology brings and provide it at scale within the organization? Automation Anywhere makes it really easy to do that. Automation Anywhere is also the only cloud-native web-based platform in the world, right? And that makes scalability a real possibility as opposed to just a pipe dream for a lot of those providers that are only built on on-prem infrastructure. Some other kind of metrics for you here. Automation Anywhere has built over 3 million, or has deployed over 3 million bots in over 90 countries across all major industries, right? Including BPO, financial services, healthcare, obviously insurance as well. So that brings us to our case study for the insurance industry here. And this case study is based around Dai-ichi Life, which is one of Japan's biggest and oldest mutual insurance companies. The company was founded in 1902 and has over 55,000 employees. And they have been kind of challenged with a lot of manual rules-based mundane processing that takes place within their operations department. So they have 1,600 folks employed across 3 departments within operations, and they do everything from doing claims handling, contract management, reviewing payments, essentially a lot of manual tasks. Right, so that's kind of one of the main challenges that Dai-ichi Life Corporation was facing. Now, what did they resort to? Well, they introduced RPA. They did shop around and compared different RPA tools and decided that RPA, or Automation Anywhere, was the tool for them, right? They're a big organization, and they were able to secure a decent amount of funding to really start attacking their automation needs at scale across the organization. And as I said, one of the key factors for analyzing different tools was which tool would be the easiest to use and which tool would be the easiest to scale. Those 2 factors are what pushed Dai-ichi Life to select Automation Anywhere as their provider of choice. And I mentioned also that the operations department was where they decided to start. And so a lot of the key processes that they started to automate were around, accounts payable, accounts receivable, handling some claims, contract management, group insurance tasks, and also asset management. I'm going to share some metrics with you here. After setting up their initial rules and conducting testing, RPA was fully implemented in 2018. So within a year of when they got started, with over 460 tasks across 39 departments within the organization. Dai-ichi Life Insurance is, they made sure to set up a carefully managed program that was fully deploying both unattended and attended solutions. The proof of value here was mainly intended to give the company the opportunity to get a real feel for what RPA can achieve, rather than to pursue person's full ROI. As you can see, over 132,000 hours were saved annually, and Automation Anywhere RPA now accounts for almost 80% of the tasks automated. Like I said, one of which is processing sales data from its core system into Excel. Prior to RPA, a lot of the tasks that they completed had to be completed by employees who came to the office before business hours in order to complete the work. With this fully automated solution and the enhanced operational efficiency, Dai-ichi Life is able to focus on the growing areas of the company now. And that's really what it comes down to, right? I mentioned this before, giving time back to your people, right? Giving time back to lines of businesses within the organization. With that time back, you can focus more on long-term growth. You can focus more on giving your employees more valued work, which creates for a good synergy for any of this business. So I want to talk a little bit about how RPA can benefit different areas within the insurance company. Now that you've had a chance to hear a little bit about how one particular insurance company managed to deploy RPA at scale within their organization, right? So first off, reduce costs, right? You can streamline different insurance operations and improve productivity by automating those repetitive processes. You can accelerate claims handling, right? You automate document processing and claims workflows to improve timeliness and accuracy. Automation Anywhere has a tool called IQBot, which is their intelligent document processing, which can be very beneficial for automating tasks that involve different document formats. You can also improve access to internal and external data sources to enrich risk analysis and product development for enhancing the underwriting process. You can also provide real-time access to customer data and accelerate completion of customer requests by focusing on customer service. For increasing policyholder retention, you can identify different risks that might be involved in retention, and then proactively offer products and services to make sure that you're meeting customer needs. And lastly, you can empower lines of business or areas within the business like HR, right? You're freeing up employees to perform value-adding analytical activities, and you can automate offboarding tasks, onboarding tasks, essentially giving time back to those folks to make sure you're bringing on the right people for your organization for that continued growth and success. And with that, that brings kind of my portion of this webinar to a close. I hope all of you were able to learn a little something new about RPA and about Mutually Human. Thank you for your time, and I will hand it back over to Logan.
Thank you, Nav. Just in review, thank you for joining us today. I've got Lori and Nav's information here if you want to reach out to them and have any questions. You also a reminder to fill out our survey. That'll enter you win our Amazon gift cards, and also is an opportunity for you to ask any questions that you might have and give us some feedback there. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time today, and have a good day.